For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On a crisp autumn afternoon, 11-year-old Raina and her 14-year-old sister Deja Whitlo set out from their family's picnic on the remote Ozark backroads. Their plan was simple: a short walk to a nearby low-water bridge, then back to the car. They never returned. Despite an immediate and extensive search spanning miles of dense forest and winding hollows, led by County Corporal Miguel Esteban and aided by countless dedicated volunteers, the Whitlo sisters vanished without a trace from the rugged Ozark landscape. For 7 agonizing years, their family endured crushing uncertainty, clinging to slivers of hope while haunted by the chilling silence. Then, a startling and unimaginable discovery was made, tearing open old wounds and hinting at a truth far more terrifying than anyone could have ever conceived. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Raina and Deja Whitlo. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The Ozark backroads, winding through dense foliage and over ancient limestone, held a deceptive tranquility. Sunlight dappled through the canopy, illuminating the clear waters of a popular swimming hole fed by a shallow creek. Above it, a low-water bridge, sturdy and unassuming, served as a crossing point for both vehicles and pedestrians, a familiar landmark for those who sought respite in nature's embrace. It was here on a warm afternoon in late summer that the Whitlo family gathered for a picnic. Raina, age 11, and her older sister Deja, 14, were typical siblings, their youthful energy a vibrant counterpoint to the placid surroundings. The day unfolded with the quiet rhythm of family tradition. Laughter echoed off the bluffs as sandwiches were shared and stories exchanged. As the afternoon waned, a decision was made to split into 2 groups for short walks. The parents would take one path, the girls another, with a plan to reconvene at the family car parked near the bridge in no more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes became 30, then 40. The initial casual glances towards the path the girls had taken slowly morphed into a prickling unease. Calls of Raina, Deja, began tentatively, then grew louder, infused with a nascent dread. The parents, now alone at the car, felt the silence of the woods press in, no longer peaceful but ominous. Their own short walk had concluded without incident, but Raina and Deja had not returned. Panic, cold and visceral, seized them. They retraced the girls' presumed route, their shouts becoming desperate pleas. Every rock, every tree, every bend in the creek was searched with increasing futility. The idyllic afternoon had shattered, replaced by a terrifying void. As dusk began to settle, casting long shadows across the water, the terrifying reality solidified. Raina and Deja Whitlo were gone. The frantic search, initially a desperate family effort, quickly escalated into a missing persons report, signaling the grim beginning of an investigation that would echo through the Ozarks for years. The alarm that ripped through the Whitlo family quickly reached the county authorities, echoing through the quiet Ozark valleys. Within the hour, County Corporal Miguel Esteban arrived at the low-water bridge, his uniform a stark, official presence amidst the family's raw grief. A veteran of the region's small police force, Esteban understood the deceptive nature of its beauty, how quickly the dense wilderness could swallow a trace. His first priority was a methodical sweep of the immediate area. Officers fanned out, meticulously examining the banks of the swimming hole, the rocky ground beneath the bridge, and the overgrown paths leading into the woods. Every discarded wrapper, every disturbed leaf, every broken twig became a potential clue, carefully cataloged and considered. The creek itself was shallow, but divers were called to ensure no sign had settled beneath the surface near the bridge's concrete supports or been carried downstream. Corporal Esteban then turned his attention to the distraught family. Their accounts, though fragmented by shock and grief, painted a consistent picture of a normal outing, a momentary lapse of supervision, and then the terrifying void. He listened patiently, asking precise questions about the girls' clothing, their moods, any recent disagreements or unusual encounters. Concurrently, the news of the missing sisters spread rapidly through the close-knit community, igniting a collective concern. Lottie Greer, a tireless church volunteer known for her exceptional organizational skills, quickly mobilized local residents, forming search parties that fanned out to comb the surrounding hollows and ridges, their calls of Raina, Deja, piercing the evening air. From his bait shop down the road, Arlo Petty, a man whose family had lived in these parts for generations, offered his intimate knowledge of the local terrain and its occasional transient population, though he admitted nothing seemed amiss in the days leading up to the disappearance, no strange vehicles or unfamiliar faces. Despite the immediate and widespread efforts, the initial investigation yielded no breakthroughs. No signs of struggle were found at the picnic site or along the paths, no abandoned personal items belonging to Raina or Deja, no tire tracks beyond those of the Whitlows and the responding officers. The woods, which had seemed so alive hours before, now offered only an unnerving silence, holding its secrets close. The case was a baffling mystery from the outset, a void where two young lives had been just hours before, now vanished without a trace. The initial flurry of activity surrounding the disappearance of Raina and Deja Whitlo gradually receded, yet the void they left behind only deepened with time. Weeks bled into months, and then years, each passing season bringing no closer to understanding what had transpired that late summer afternoon. The vibrant calls for information that once echoed through the Ozarks slowly diminished, replaced by a haunting silence that settled over the community. The intense media scrutiny, once splashed across regional headlines, faded into infrequent anniversary pieces, a stark testament to the world's inevitable march forward. Corporal Miguel Esteban, however, refused to allow the case to truly go cold. The file, thick with initial interviews, forensic reports, and dead ends, sat on his desk, a constant, heavy reminder of the two missing sisters. He pursued every whispered rumor, every anonymous tip, no matter how improbable its source. He revisited the low-water bridge countless times, his eyes meticulously scanning the familiar landscape as if it might finally yield its long-held secrets. He spoke again with the Whitlo family, their initial raw grief now a deep, settled ache, their hope a flickering ember he felt compelled to tend. He checked in with Lottie Greer, whose initial community searches had been so robust, and Arlo Petty, whose local knowledge had proven invaluable but ultimately insufficient. Each new lead, however small or seemingly insignificant, was chased down with the same diligence as the first, only to dissolve into another frustrating dead end, reinforcing the baffling nature of the vanishing. The initial outpouring of public concern and community search efforts, once hundreds strong, became a handful of dedicated volunteers, their determination increasingly desperate against the vast, indifferent wilderness. For the Whitlo family, this prolonged agony was compounded by the feeling of the world moving on around them, while their own lives remained irrevocably frozen in that terrifying moment by the creek. The question of how two young girls could simply evaporate from a seemingly innocent family outing continued to plague the community, fostering a profound sense of unease. A lingering shadow of the inexplicable settled over the Ozarks, a testament to the enduring mystery that defied all explanation, and a constant reminder that two young lives had vanished without a trace. Years turned into a relentless procession, each one dimming the immediate memory of Raina and Deja Whitlo for all but their family and a dedicated few. The Ozark Creek continued its ceaseless flow beneath the low-water bridge, a silent witness to countless seasons. Then, 7 years after the sisters vanished, a significant weather event brought torrential rains, swelling the creek to an unusual height. The powerful current, scouring the riverbed and dislodging debris, inadvertently revealed what had long been hidden. a group of local teenagers, exploring the receding waters days after the flood, stumbled upon a piece of fabric snagged beneath one of the bridge's concrete supports. It was a baseball cap, mud-stained and partially obscured by sediment, but unmistakably a manufactured item. What made the discovery particularly arresting was not merely its presence in such an unlikely location, but a peculiar detail meticulously incorporated into its design. Woven into the fabric of the cap, near the brim, was a tight braid composed of 3 distinct colors of twine: a faded crimson, a muted forest green, and a pale, almost white beige. This was not a standard embellishment. It was a deliberate handmade addition, almost an identifier. The teenagers, sensing the unusual nature of their find and aware of the enduring local legend of the missing Whitlo sisters, reported it to the authorities. The news reached Corporal Miguel Esteban like a jolt. 7 years of frustration, of chasing ghosts and false leads, had taken their toll, yet the mention of a tangible object, found at the very scene of the disappearance, ignited a flicker of the hope he had long suppressed. He personally responded to the scene, his heart quickening as he knelt by the water's edge, observing the mud-encrusted cap still partially pinned by the current against the concrete. It was a physical link, however tenuous, to the day the girls disappeared. Under his careful supervision, the ball cap was meticulously recovered, photographed in situ, and then carefully packaged as evidence. Its unique 3-colored twine braid was immediately noted, a detail that resonated with a chilling specificity. The cap was dispatched to the state forensic laboratory, where specialists would attempt to extract any DNA, fingerprints, or other microscopic traces that might finally break the silence of the Ozarks and connect this single, solitary item to the baffling, prolonged mystery of Raina and Deja Whitlo. The cold case, for the first time in years, had a tangible, unsettling piece of evidence. The discovery of the ball cap, a tangible artifact after so many years, acted as a powerful catalyst, compelling Corporal Miguel Esteban to officially reopen and intensify the investigation into the Whitlo sisters' disappearance. The cold case file, once a static archive, was now a vibrant, active inquiry, infused with a renewed, albeit cautious, sense of purpose. At the State Forensic Laboratory, the mud-stained ball cap underwent an exhaustive examination. Specialists meticulously searched for latent fingerprints, DNA traces from skin cells, hair, or sweat, and any fibers that might not belong to the cap itself. Particular attention was paid to the unique braid of 3-colored twine meticulously sewn into its fabric. Analysts attempted to identify the material, its origin, and the precise method of its intricate weaving, hoping to link it to a specific trade, hobby, or even a geographic region. Every microscopic detail was scrutinized under high magnification, yet the initial reports offered no immediate breakthroughs. No clear DNA profile emerged, no identifiable fingerprints, and the twine, while undeniably distinctive, lacked a readily traceable commercial or personal source. It was a unique signature, but one without a known author. Armed with this new, albeit enigmatic, piece of evidence, investigators returned to the low-water bridge and the surrounding swimming hole. The scene, now familiar after countless previous visits, was approached with fresh eyes and a heightened sense of urgency. They scoured the banks, the underbrush, and the water's edge with renewed purpose, searching for any other overlooked items, any discarded twine, or anything that might align with the cap's unique characteristics. Metal detectors swept the area again, and dive teams returned to the creek bed, hoping the recent floods might have dislodged further clues from years past. Corporal Esteban also embarked on a fresh round of interviews. He revisited the Whitlo family, their faces etched with 7 years of unanswered grief, presenting them with photographs of the cap and its distinctive braid, asking if it sparked any memory, however faint, from the day of the picnic or the days leading up to it. He spoke again with Lottie Greer, whose community search efforts had been so fervent years prior, and with Arlo Petty, the bait shop owner whose local insights remained invaluable, inquiring if they had ever seen anyone wearing such a cap, or if the three-colored twine held any significance in local craft or tradition. The responses, though earnest and heartfelt, provided no immediate answers. The ball cap remained an isolated, perplexing artifact, a lead that had reignited hope but had yet to provide a clear path forward. Its significance remained shrouded in mystery, a silent challenge to those determined to unravel the truth. 7 years had passed since Raina and Deja Whitlo vanished, 7 years of agonizing silence broken only by the ceaseless flow of the Ozark Creek. Then, without warning, the impossible occurred. Deja Whitlo, now a young woman, reappeared, emerging from the depths of the wilderness as if summoned from a ghost story. Her sudden presence sent shockwaves through the community, turning the collective grief into stunned disbelief, then urgent hope. She was older, gaunt, and carried the indelible marks of unimaginable trauma, but she was alive, and her return instantly transformed the cold case into a vibrant, active investigation. Corporal Miguel Esteban, who had tirelessly pursued every phantom lead for nearly a decade, was among the first to hear Deja's incredible account. Her voice, though fragile, held an unwavering clarity as she began to describe her ordeal. She spoke of a man, a drifter, who had held her captive for years. His method of operation, she revealed, was as elusive as the Ozark shadows themselves. He utilized the numerous storm cellars hidden along the hollows, moving with a chilling regularity. Every flash flood, she explained, served as his cue to relocate, flushing him from one temporary refuge to another, effectively erasing his tracks and evading detection by authorities who searched for static encampments. Then came the detail that resonated with a profound and terrifying specificity. Deja described the drifter's disturbing habit of collecting personal items from his victims, transforming them into macabre mementos. These trophies, she recounted, were meticulously sewn into baseball caps, each item integrated into the fabric with a distinctive, almost ritualistic care. As her words hung in the air, a chilling realization dawned on Corporal Esteban. The unique ball cap, with its braid of 3 distinct colors of twine, found years prior pinned beneath the low-water bridge, was no longer an isolated enigma. It was a fragment of Deja's living nightmare, a direct, undeniable link to her captor and his horrifying methodology. Her testimony provided the first concrete identification of a suspect's profile, and crucially, a chilling explanation for the unique piece of evidence that had, until this moment, remained an inscrutable puzzle. The breakthrough was complete. The hunt for a phantom now had a face, a name, and a modus operandi. Deja Whitlo's harrowing account, delivered with an almost chilling precision, provided Corporal Miguel Esteban with the blueprint he had sought for 7 agonizing years. The Ozark Hollows, once a vast, undifferentiated wilderness, were now mapped with a new, terrifying clarity. Acting on her detailed descriptions of the drifter's habits, his reliance on flash floods to erase his tracks, his use of hidden storm cellars, Esteban mobilized a coordinated manhunt unlike any the region had seen. Teams fanned out, systematically searching the remote, often overlooked depressions in the landscape, each cellar a potential grave, each remote cabin a possible prison. Weeks later, in a secluded hollow miles from the Whitlows' picnic spot, a dilapidated storm cellar yielded its secrets. The drifter, identified as a transient named Silas Thorne, was apprehended without resistance, his face a mask of weary resignation. Within the cellar, evidence corroborated Deja's testimony. Among the few meager possessions, another baseball cap was discovered, its brim adorned with fragments of clothing, grim trophies. And then, the unspeakable truth about Raina Whitlo was confirmed. Deja, with a quiet strength that belied her ordeal, had revealed her sister's fate. Raina had not survived the initial abduction, a tragic outcome that had haunted Deja throughout her captivity, a burden she had carried alone for years. Deja's return marked not an end, but the beginning of an arduous journey. Her physical scars would heal, but the psychological wounds ran deep, requiring years of specialized care and unwavering support from her family and a dedicated team of therapists. She faced the daunting task of reintegrating into a world that had moved on, yet she carried with her the weight of 7 lost years and the memory of her sister. The Ozark community, rocked by the horrifying revelations, found a strange solace in the resolution, yet the Whitlo case left an indelible mark. It was a testament to both the chilling vulnerability of innocence and the unyielding dedication of those like Corporal Esteban, who never ceased to search, and to the extraordinary resilience of a young woman who, against all odds, returned to tell her terrifying story, ensuring that Reina's memory and the truth would finally be heard.